everyone. You illuminate the night like a morning star. I see you as you truly are. You.
That's good. Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon. A little noise there, but we are here. That's a good indication. Just wanted to share a little thought with you to open the show up. If your compassion does not include yourself, it is incomplete. If your compassion does not include yourself, it is incomplete. And you know we can't afford to be incomplete. My name is Shirley T. Burke, and welcome to the show, Something Different. We're very glad to have you here. And we have a guest already sitting here, and I'm proud to have him here. And we have another half of that guest, but we won't talk about that yet. Not yet. We are looking for a call-in call from Gloria Taylor-Edwards, who I do the radio show every first Wednesday with on WCLM, and it's also on the computer. We get lots of mail and letters from people from around the world when we do the Women on Point show every first Wednesday. So I'm looking forward to her calling in a little bit. But until she does call in, we have this young man here, and my procedure is that people usually introduce themselves, Chris. So you want to start?
Oh, well, first, I'm flattered that you called me a young man. Thank you.
Yeah, you're not 100 yet, you know.
Not yet. I'm somewhere in between those
I
two.
understand.
My name is Chris Harris, and I'm co-founder of Refuse Ordinary, which is based here locally in Richmond.
Okay. Refuse Ordinary. I like that. Can you give us a little history of that title? Because it's, you know, I just hearing the title, I always love it.
Okay, so you want to know the story of where that came from. Well, it was many weekends ago.
Weekends, I like that.
There was a really good friend of mine who also is a mentor, Will Turner.
Yes.
And this was back about October of 2011. And we met in a local coffee shop. And we wanted to put our minds together and go, we got to make something really, really cool. We're not sure what it is yet, but we're going to spend some time doing it. So we met in this coffee shop for about 5 weeks, day in and day out.
Really?
We had stacks of paper piled up around us. We were crashing hard drives, just burning some stuff up because we were on a mission. We wanted to do something meaningful. We wanted to do something powerful. We wanted to change the world. No big deal. So we wanted to do anything other than ordinary.
I understand. That's me. Something different. Same parallel.
So he and I, on the 5th day, on Friday, on the 5th week, came up with the name Refuse Ordinary. And what sprung out of it and what was the genesis of what became our business today. And what we primarily do is work with sales drivers.
Ooh, sales drivers. So we're talking business here.
We are talking business here.
Okay.
But we work with sales drivers so they can crush their numbers, rock their productivity, all while making a difference.
All while making a difference. But you all got something else too that I love. What about time?
Well, that's where the rock the productivity is.
Oh, okay.
That is a spin on time management. And essentially what we do is help you focus on the things throughout your day that are making you productive. Whether it's revenue generating activities, whether you're working on a project like getting a book done, or whether you're doing a web launch, but we focus you on the activities that make you productive and help you give strategies to avoid the things that are distracting you.
Do we have distractions?
No, not at all. There are no children in our lives that distract us. There are no cell phones that distract us.
Don't turn the TV on.
There are no people that distract us. Nothing distracts. Nothing has changed in 100 years. Nothing.
Yes. I've learned that I can't turn the TV on at all. It just blows my day, so it has to stay off. I can't even put music on.
Actually, the radio will distract me.
Yes, I can't handle it. But when I don't have anything, and I've even started doing it in the car, because I think, I'm with myself, so I can be thinking about some things. And things do come to me while I'm riding without that noise.
The biggest distractors that we find with folks is either social media, obligations.
Okay.
So what I call the self-talk tapes. Oh, I've got to do this. I'm committed to this. Or the overcommitted distractions.
Yeah.
or what I call the shiny object syndrome, which is anything that flies across your...
They call it squirrel.
Right. Squirrel. Exactly.
And
I am the ADD poster child.
Oh,
so
my goodness.
I lived that. I actually wrote an article about the things that I learned growing up that helped me today focusing up. And
Talk a little bit about that, because there are a lot of people I think would be interested.
Well, to get this don't knock my family. So this is going to go back into the story. One of the first things that I learned to do, because I was so distracted as a child, is I would literally lock myself in the bathroom.
Really?
And stay in there for maybe an hour at a pop to focus on whatever it is I had to do.
Awesome.
Now, why I'm saying don't knock my family was my dad would say, go to the bathroom and lock yourself in there.
So he helped you.
Yeah. He also said, do your chores first before you do anything fun, which is also a strategy.
Yeah.
If there's stuff you're trying to put off and procrastinate,
oh my goodness,
knock that out first.
Yes.
Get that off so you can get on it, do the fun things that you want to do.
Yeah, eat the elephant. What is it, the elephant? Do you call elephant eat the what? Eat the frog.
Yep, eat that frog. Do that thing you don't want to do first.
Yeah.
And then my mother, who taught me how to cook, by the way, which is a totally different story. But not only was I hyper, I wasn't exactly the best kid in the world. And what she would do, and we had one of those old stoves with a timer on it.
Oh, yeah.
And she'd say, Christopher Lee, you sit in that yellow chair, and I can still remember it was that big. You sit in that chair and you stare at that timer for 5 minutes, and you don't do a thing. You sit there. So I'd stare at that timer, ding, and then I'd screw up and then have to sit in that chair again. And it's going to be 10 minutes now, and it's going to be 30 minutes now. After a while, it would be 45 minutes. But what I learned through that activity is sometimes it helps to literally set a timer. Focus on doing something for however long you can handle it. Whether it's, some people that can't focus at all, 10 minutes is a challenge.
A long time.
Set a timer for 10 minutes, literally one of those cooking timers, set it right there in front of you, hit go. Do something for 10 minutes. As soon as it dings, take a break.
You know what? I didn't have an idea we would get into this, but this is a big deal for a lot of people.
Oh, yeah.
It's a big deal, being able to focus.
Oh, yeah.
And be productive and focus on those things that, if you're a business person, that's going to bring something to that dollar sign.
Absolutely.
Bring it to fruition. It makes a difference. So I appreciate you bringing that up. And also with our kids, some of the kids have a lot of issues. You didn't have Ritalin, so I was
before Ritalin.
That's what I'm talking about. So
I had
that worked. Me too.
My discipline, my father was, we grew up rural. There was a huge stack of wood.
Yes.
And he said, go split wood.
Yes. I've done that too. I wasn't discriminated because I was a girl. So
Good.
My
daughter, she's going to be doing the same thing. She's going to be
I think it's a good thing. I can tell the difference in those women that I work with, interact with. That didn't have that experience.
Yeah,
it makes a difference, doesn't it?
Oh, it does. My mother grew up in rural Dinwiddie.
Yes.
She grew up on a tobacco farm and a hog farm.
I know about putting a stick in the ground and putting that tobacco plant in there. I know about that too. We helped our neighbors do that.
Absolutely.
Yep. It matters. I like that you came up and know that there is a process to things. There's something that works to help me where I am right this second.
Yep.
This helps. And it also goes through your adulthood.
Yep,
That's a big thing.
It does.
Excuse me, Chris. Hello? Hello?
Yes. Hello. This is Gloria Taylor Edwards.
Hey
Hi,
there.
Gloria.
Hey, Gloria. How you doing? Turn your TV down.
Okay. Got it.
All right. How you doing tonight?
I'm blessed.
Good. Tell the people a little bit about who you are, because I'm with my guest, Chris. And we were talking before you started, but we want to hear who you are. Let the audience know who you are.
Okay, hi, Chris.
Hi, how are you?
I'm blessed.
That's great.
My name is Gloria Taylor Edwards. I am an author, a born scribe. I should say I was born to do that.
Yes, you were.
And I also do talk radio. Been doing it for a couple of decades now. And probably after those decades, Miss Shirley has been with me.
Yes, we have.
Yeah, on radio. And my journey really, which I can get into a little bit later, is I said I'm a born scribe. The
Sure.
It started with my sister's murder, my mother's illness and passing away, and then my diagnosis of breast cancer in 2012.
So you know what pain and grief is, don't you?
Yes, and I did a little research on cancer, and one of the things that I noted and that was said and some doctors actually subscribe to this, is over 60% of the women, or not just women, but cancer patients have told stories of either loss, intense grief,
Yes.
Right.
depression, and despair.
Yep.
Yep.
There's obviously some connection between dis-ease or disease
Yes.
and whether it's grief, despair, depression. However, there's a connection. That's why it's probably called dis-ease.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
right.
I was dis-eased for quite a bit. Now, I'm a 2-year breast cancer.
You're a survivor. You're a survivor now.
Yes, I am, and I want a whole lot more years. 'Cause
You know that's right.
I do have the after effects of cancer from chemotherapy, and I'm living with other issues, but I'm still here.
Well, that's
Good for you. Good for you.
I'm still here, so the issues ultimately that resulted even from cancer, it leaves me still with a story to tell, much more writing to do.
Yeah, and that's what I want the audience to hear. Tell us about you've written how many books?
I say 5, but actually 6.
Good for you.
One of them was a true journey in self-publishing, and that was stories from ancient Africa. Mm-hmm. And I bring that one up first because I always loved fairy tales. Goldilocks and Grimm's fairy, all of those. I love fairy tales, so I wanted to find some fairy tales or stories that I could really relate to in regards to Africa, and found quite a bit. And what I learned is that a lot of mythologies, even fairy tales, are also based on some kernel of truth.
Yes,
Sure.
yes.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So that was purely for me. You should write for yourself anyway, but that story was for me, but I wanted to put it in the context in which children could read it and understand it and not have to go to all the different references or books that I read and still had to try to decipher myself, but to find some really interesting tales in that. And that included one particular story is Who's That Bird on the Dollar Bill? And telling the tale of you look on the back of your dollar bill and you see an eagle, and knowing where that actually came from was fascinating for me. But anyway, that was my journey for myself. My first book, The Proclamation, was published in 1992. I think I get the years confused. 1992 or 1993, and that was loosely based on a true story, my own true story. I'd never been an offender, first-time offender, and I was
Ooh, something's gone here. Maybe she'll call back.
Oh.
Yeah. She's written, like she said, 5 or 6 books, and
That's quite an undertaking.
Yeah, but the last one she wrote that it has. I am intrigued with her study and what it entails, but I'd like for her to tell about what it is if she calls back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd like to hear more about that.
Yeah, I am. She normally comes in person, but
Oh, wow.
But she, with her recovery, I thought if she just could call in and let our audience hear her, it would be beneficial.
Yeah, absolutely. It's an inspiration. It really
Yeah,
is.
totally. She's gone through quite a bit. She's gone through, and we have discussed the thing of forgiveness, and that was with the person that killed her sister. That's a very interesting story in terms of her communicating with him and him responding.
Sure.
Totally.
Wow.
Yes.
That's quite a journey.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's a lot of stories in Richmond, and my thing is when you don't know a person's story, you don't know the person.
Nope.
You have to. That's
how you connect with people.
Yeah, it is. And that's in business. That's how you connect.
Right.
And that's why I think a lot of people are afraid to really communicate.
Yes.
Because you have to give some of yourself. You have to open up those doors and let people know who you are.
Yes. And that's the difference now. It was the information age.
Yeah.
But now it's the connectivity age. How well do you connect with someone, whether it's in business or whether it's in person?
Right.
Is the basis of the relationship you're going to have with them.
People buy from who they know and trust.
And who they can relate to.
Yeah. But they can't relate unless they know you.
Right.
And that's where a lot of people are missing.
Yep.
People are used to car sales, whether you're selling you. Nobody likes to be sold, huh?
Right.
You think so?
I'm pretty sure no one likes to be sold.
Okay. Chris, you are a business coach.
Sure.
And talk a little bit about that because we're going to switch up here in a few minutes, but I want you to talk a little bit about your primary business and that which you would like to, for the audience to know about and what you do.
Sure. We primarily work with two audiences. One is the sales driver, and the sales driver is defined by anyone that is responsible for driving revenue for an organization.
Okay.
That can be the sales manager, all the way down to the solopreneur, so the entrepreneur that's in business by themselves and they have no one else.
Yeah.
But essentially, we help them focus on generating revenue, putting in systems, and also making a meaningful difference in their life for themselves and then in the people around them.
Putting in systems like what?
Good question. Systems like how do you prospect for a particular client?
Okay.
How do you organize your day? How do you organize your follow-up with a client? And
yes.
going from A to B, and what I call it is the client experience. So then the time you meet them, how do you systemize your interaction with them so it's consistent every time you interact with the same client and a new client? That experience should be consistent.
I understand. And that's what most people don't have.
Right. They're kind of shooting from the hip,
Yes.
hoping it
Trying
goes
the
well.
dollar bill, looking for the dollar bill, but the systems help you get the dollar bill.
Right. And then tracking the
Tracking,
systems,
yes.
making sure that you're being consistent, but also if you're not tracking them, you don't know how well they're performing.
Yeah, true.
And you can't tweak them. I mean, you can make it up.
Yeah.
But if you're measuring them, then you know whether it's effective or not, and you know how to tweak it.
Okay. So when you do your business, what type of client are you looking for, if you want to express that a little bit more? What type of client are you looking for?
Sure. Again, sales managers is generally who we'll work with. I personally have a small private clientele of solopreneur women.
Okay,
I work primarily with women solopreneurs, so women
Okay.
that own their own business and it's just them, or they're just now bringing on an employee.
Okay, because when you are the business, it's rough.
It is.
Yes, when you are the business.
Is.
And if you're women with other responsibilities in the family, it's rougher.
Exactly. I do believe it's a little more difficult for women in general because of the obligations that they have and the guilt they go through.
Oh, my
How
goodness.
do
So
they
you
tear themselves away from, but I got to do this and I have to take care of that. And it's hard. It's hard. It's very hard.
Women are a little bit different when it comes to emotions
They are.
and caring about and not turning guilt and stuff loose. You were right about that.
Right.
You're right about that. So how can people get in touch with you?
Well, the easiest way to get in touch with me is by email, which is chris@refuseordinary, all one word, .com.
Refuse Ordinary. I love that. You did a seminar for us at River City.
We did.
Yeah, River City.
That's how we
for
first met.
president. Yeah. The person, Beth was on last week. Tell the audience what was the name of that seminar.
It was 4 easy ways to shave 5 hours off your work week.
Now, who would not be interested in that?
Exactly.
That's what I'm talking about. Who would not repeat that? Because it is possible. You gave us some real good tips.
It was 4 easy ways to shave up to 5 hours off your work week.
Yeah, which you're telling people right now that you are available to come to the organizations and
and show them how. And that's just the tip of the iceberg.
No, that's right. But 5 hours.
Yep.
Off of your work week.
Yep.
That's what I was talking about a while ago when you made mention of the time.
Yep.
That is a crucial thing.
Yeah, and back to the systems, systematically approaching how you handle your email, which can be a black hole.
Yeah.
Systemizing how you see your clients
Right.
or the people that you work with.
Right.
Figuring out how to prioritize your day, figuring out what is critical for your success and what supports that success. Because generally we're just busy.
Yeah. And people think that's being productive, just being moving, just not productivity all the time.
Absolutely. And really identifying why you're working so hard in the first place.
Ooh.
Really figuring that out.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, I want to make money. You're not doing
not
it just because you want to make money.
No,
There's got to be another reason.
Yes.
And digging down a little deeper of why do you really want to do this? And if you are serious about being more productive and managing your time better, why do you really want to do that? What do you stand to gain? For me, I'll be honest with everybody in the world that's watching this live, I work my guts out so that I can spend more time with my daughter. That is my primary reason for wanting to organize my time.
You shared that with us too.
Yep,
that's a real important thing.
And she's got to have new shoes, so I got to make money.
That's awesome. One more time, tell them how they can get in touch with you.
Chris at refuseordinary, all one word.com.
Great. Chris will be here for a while.
I'll be here. I'm not going anywhere.
But
there's someone here that I have to be around, so I'm not going anywhere. It's not just you.
I heard that. But we are going to bring someone on, and you will be back. I'll bring both of you all on in a few minutes, but we're going to bring someone else on there, and we'll take a break.
Great.
Don't change that channel.
Don't do it.
We will be right back.
Thank you.
Your spirit, that's for sure. Comparisons and doubt will leave you feeling insecure, but you can't hide what you are. Try them on for size. The impact that you make.
Call it the loss. All right. We are back. We got a beautiful lady here, and we want to have her introduce herself. You want to tell them who you are?
Sure. My name's Amanda Harris, and I am the owner of Reconnect, Post-Rehabilitative and Medical Fitness here in Richmond.
Awesome. I had never heard of medical specialists.
Medical fitness, medical exercise specialist?
Yes. Oh, God, that was something. Tell our audience a little bit about that.
Well, we work specifically with folks who are coming out of a physical therapy or a medical rehabilitation type program. And so we're not physical therapists, which unfortunately there's a little bit of confusion there since this is sort of a burgeoning industry. But We work with folks who are coming out of a medical treatment type program, outpatient physical therapy, chiropractic care, manual therapy care, and help them get to that next level so that they can rejoin the activities that they love so much.
Yeah, that is critical.
Yeah, you
Totally.
know, coming out of rehab now, especially with insurance dictating largely how much rehab you can get. Physical therapists and chiropractors and other really great healthcare providers just cannot give you the outcomes that they would like. In other words, you might get out of rehab being able to take care of yourself, brush your teeth, comb your hair, shower, that sort of thing. But you might not be able to return to your golf game or go play in your garden and get down on your knees and get back up, or you know, walk a mile with your grandkids on the beach or something like that you really want to do. And so folks still want to be able to do those things. You know, it's not good enough to be able to get out of the chair and go across the room and sit back down in another chair. They want to do more. And so we pick up the ball wherever physical therapy ends and take them back to whatever they want to do as best as we possibly can.
Well, are there many people in Richmond that's doing what you're doing?
I don't know. I don't know of any.
That's what I thought.
So
that's what because I'd never heard of that before until I was referred by a gentleman named Chris Harris. Had never
He's
heard.
one of my number one referral sources.
Yes, I had never heard of that, but I met you because of that, because of the issues I had with my back and what have you, and it really is phenomenal in terms of what you do. And you do feel a difference. You can tell a difference. You know what I'm saying?
Good.
You can
Yes,
definitely
ma'am.
feel a difference. Talk a little bit more about how this came about, if you don't mind.
Medical exercise or my business?
You get into it because you've been doing a lot. You've been in fitness for a long time.
A long time,
Yeah.
yes. Well, I originally got into the post-rehab fitness aspect of things right after I finished my master's degree at UVA back in '96. I guess I'm going to date myself now, but I really wanted to do something that was more post-rehabilitative, but back then I was more into cardiac rehab. That was what I was trained primarily for in my master's degree, and there just wasn't a market for that in Charlottesville.
When you say cardiac
rehab, so folks coming out of cardiac events, like a heart attack or an open heart surgery or something like that. And I was trained to work in that environment originally, and I couldn't. The job market was just completely flooded with new grads like me, and so trying to get a job and do something that was health and exercise related, I wound up in a health club situation, and fortunately that particular health club had a tenant that was a physical therapy clinic. And the lead physical therapist was trying to figure out a way to refer her patients onto exercise, but was finding that many times if she just referred to a personal trainer, the personal trainer would unwittingly give exercises that were too difficult, and the patient would get re-injured and show back up in the clinic. And so she kind of made a deal with me, and she said, I know you have some advanced training, and if you will come and spend some time with me, I will start referring patients to you. And so that was really what got me rolling, long time ago, over 15 years ago. I got into it there, and it just kept going. And then I found out that there was actually a field that was starting to emerge called post-rehabilitative medical exercise. And so there are a smattering of us around the country and a little bit in Canada, but I don't know of many folks that do that around here.
No, I had never heard of it, but I can tell you that your specialty works.
Well, thank you.
It works, and that's one of the reasons that I want you to come on, because there are a couple of things. Like I think I told you about the dry needling that you don't hear much. I hear more now about it, but those things actually work, and it's not surgery.
That's right.
It's not surgery.
That's right.
And there are ways to kind of correct some of those things without surgery for some folks.
For many folks, that's right.
Can feel better at least.
That's right.
Because my goal was not to have surgery.
Right.
It was not to have surgery. I still working on
that. And there are many ways to kind of get to what you want to get to, and the trick is figuring out what works best for you. And dry needling works better for some. And, more of an exercise-related type modality works better for others. And the trick is figuring out what works for you.
Right. And what I was interested in, and I know this personally, is that word collaborate.
Yes.
on your website. Yeah. Talk a little bit more, because you've already mentioned some of it, but explain a little bit more to the viewers of what you mean when you say collaborate.
Collaborate. Well, as I mentioned, I was literally taught early to collaborate with medical providers. You know, that physical therapist in Charlottesville was my first collaborator, and I learned so much from her. And so one of the wonderful things about collaboration is, in general, if you've got somebody that's willing to truly work with you, then you learn a little bit about each other's specialty areas, and therefore the end result is so much better than if you work in isolation. So I love working with medical providers who want to truly collaborate, meaning that we share information and we share outcomes, we share strategy, and we sort of come together to say, let's work with Shirley T on this. You know, this is what I'm seeing. What are you seeing? Oh, well, I see this. Well, what if we do this? You know, you work this in, I work this in, and we learn from each other. But not only do we learn from each other, but the client, in my case, or the patient in the medical provider's case, is the one who wins.
Yes,
because they get the combination of the two working together. So it really is a win all the way around. Nobody loses when you really collaborate. And I've been blessed to have several terrific medical providers in the Richmond area, physicians, physical therapists, and chiropractors that are collaborators and really love their patients and really want the very best for them. And so that just makes my job so much fun.
Yeah, because I know my chiropractor told you to make sure that I did something.
He did. He did. He was terrific about that.
Want me to come every day?
He did want you to come every day.
Yes, he did. Yes, he did. I thought that was neat. He is like that with other things too. He will call and check to see where if I'm going to see somebody. He calls to talk to those people. And that's Dr. Nelson Gregory.
Yes,
that's exactly
Dr. Gregory is terrific.
Because I just you don't find people that care that much.
You really don't.
I don't care what people say. You don't find it.
Yes, that's
matters.
right. It's hard to find.
Yeah.
It's hard to find, but they're out there.
They are.
They really are.
Yeah.
They really are. And there are probably more in this area than we even realize.
Yes.
I mean, like I said, I've been really blessed to sort of find them and connect with them, and I'm still connecting, and I love it. So
great.
We all benefit.
Do you have any advice for people that might be going through some of the things that I've gone through with my back, knees, shoulders? You know, like what are there any areas that you don't deal with, or you get that first, you check them out first that first time, and you determine what you're going to do? But you know, like if somebody out there is suffering with something, can you touch a little bit on those things that you have been working on in the past?
Sure. Well, my specialty is orthopedic, and my true specialty is really spine. I love backs and necks, and I mean, you know that, Shirley. That's my first love. And I also do some work with arthritis with knee, hip, and shoulder replacement.
Knee, hip, and shoulder.
You know, both folks who are looking at potentially having those surgeries, as well as folks that have had those surgeries and they just want to get back to whatever they want to get back to, their golf game, their grandkids, their regular activities. But I think the biggest take home that I would give the viewers out there is it's not too late.
Yeah.
You know, so many of us will look at an injury situation or an arthritis situation, you know.
So nothing can be done.
Yeah, and they'll say, gosh, you know, this is just, it just is what it is, and I'm done for. And I tell you what, that is just not the case. It's not too late.
Yeah.
And we start where you start. You know, we don't decide that we're going to, you know, put you on some big machine and make you lift a lot of weight or make you run really fast on a treadmill. We start where the body starts. And, you know, even if they're not coming to see me, they need to make sure they find somebody who is professionally trained, nationally certified, and who works with medical conditions. They are trained to work with medical conditions.
That's what you are trained to do.
That's right.
Medical condition.
Medical conditions.
You said, and I think I heard you right, before they have surgery and feeling bad, it's okay to come and check with you. Before surgery.
Before surgery.
That's what I want people to hear. But you know, you're not taking the place of a doctor.
No.
No, you're not taking place. But if they've been somewhere and been said this and so is wrong, you know, you can talk with them.
I can always talk to them, and the thing about it is that They need to be medically stable to work with me.
Yeah.
And if I sense, based on my interview with them or based on my assessment with them, and you remember I take you through a lot of movement assessments, if anything comes up that indicates to me that they are not medically stable, meaning they've got some symptoms that need to be checked out by a physician, I turn them right around and I say, I want you to go get checked out by your physician first. Let's make sure that he or she is on board with this as a course of action for you, and that it's appropriate, and then come on back when you're ready, and we'll get you started. But the big thing is, don't give up.
Don't give up.
Do not give up.
That is critical.
Right.
To somebody out here to help you.
Keep moving.
Yes,
That's right.
I love that. I just think more people need to hear about, I call it odd stuff that's not normally discussed in terms of medical assistance and help with the body.
And keep asking questions and keep researching. You know, it's easy to sort of take a diagnosis as a sentence, but a diagnosis isn't a sentence. It's information.
Information. Did y'all hear that? Hopefully my audience out is hearing. It's information, y'all. It's not a sentence.
So you keep digging and you keep looking for answers and you keep looking for ways to continue to live your life.
Live your life. Have you noticed that she keep talking about golf and stuff? That means she like for you to play. She just wants you to play. She wants you to be able to, play is important, and our life is better with being able to do. Some of us have given up a lot because of suffering, but there are answers out there. There are people that can help you, and that's what I wanted. One of the reasons I wanted you to come on. Also, tell them how they can get in touch with you.
Oh, Amanda at reconnect.com. And that's RE-KINECT.com. So I spelled it wrong on purpose.
Yep. Not being ordinary from somebody.
Well, yes, I've been strongly influenced by a very good business coach. Yes.
I love it. Anything else you want to share with the audience before we switch?
Probably one more thing, which is just, it's a little bit of a repetition, but I would say, remember that as human beings, we are built to move. And so if something is keeping you from movement, it's time to find out how you can get moving again, even if it's just a little bit. If it's with some assistance, fine. But there are resources out there in our community to get you moving again. And so it's time to move.
Yeah, totally. I like that. I like that. Well, Gloria, I'm hoping that she's listening. Maybe she'll call back and we can finish our call with her, and then we'll have you and the Cellar German come back up.
Okay, sounds good.
All right,
Thank
we're
you,
going to take
Shirley.
a break. Thank you so much for coming. And we are going to give you information again, and we'll give Chris information again before we get off the air.
Okay.
All right, we're going to take a break.
Your spirit, that's for sure. Comparisons and doubt will leave you feeling insecure, but you can't hide what you are.
We're back. We're waiting for Gloria to call back, but in the meantime, we are going to continue the show with these two young people. Now, I want them to reintroduce themselves.
My name is Chris Harris with Refuse Ordinary, and this is my lovely wife, Amanda Harris.
And let me tell you all why I really wanted them to come on together, because of the uniqueness. When Chris spoke at River City, it was a unique challenge when you discussed about the relationship you all have in terms of taking care of your daughter and all.
Right.
And there are so many people that have this situation. Right. And I wanted more people to hear how you can work this out. So can y'all talk a little bit about how you're raising? You can tell us first how hard it was to get that little beautiful princess.
It took us nine hard-fought years, and essentially we gave up on getting children, and we went down to Carolina, and we got a baby.
Awesome.
And her first name's Logan, but her middle name is Caroline, and that's
why.
I
love that.
And honey, when you grow up, when you're 18, we'll tell you why.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you all work together real close in terms of
raising her. Yeah,
raising that child.
We do.
Absolutely.
We do.
Yeah.
We
Talk
do.
a little bit about that. I like for some of the ladies and gentlemen that have kids or plan on having kids to know there are options.
There are.
There are. I like it because she doesn't have a babysitter. Stranger.
Yeah, me.
She doesn't have a stranger,
Right.
And even tonight she's with somebody.
She's with grandma.
She's with grandma. Mm-hmm. I think that's
And granddaddy.
That's right.
Granddaddy.
He's gonna get real mad that I
Yeah,
didn't
he
mention
sure would.
that. Sorry, Dad. Sorry.
That's awesome. He's the same gentleman told you to go to the bathroom.
That's right.
Yes.
Bathroom. Okay.
That's right.
All right.
Eddie probably
We
telling
know
me
he's-
right now.
Yeah, we know he's good people.
Right, he
already.
is.
Well, he's good
He's
people.
great.
He's
Yeah.
good people.
Yeah.
All right, talk a little bit about that, please. How just share what you all want to share about that, because that's one of the things we just said that we would talk about tonight.
Sure. Did you want to start or?
I can.
Okay.
It was kind of interesting when we first found out we were pregnant with her. I was thinking about starting my own business. But I had almost committed to it, Shirley. I had almost committed to it. And I was trying to kind of put the final thoughts in place before I actually pulled the trigger. And then, bam, I'm pregnant.
Yeah.
And I remember looking at Chris and saying, okay, well, I guess I'm not going to start my own business now. And he said, well, why wouldn't you? And I said, are you crazy? I'm pregnant. I'm going to have a baby. I'm going to go offline. I can't start now, And so we just sort of went through this wonderful pregnancy, and we were so happy about that. So it was a beautiful pregnancy. I was very blessed with that, very smooth. And then we got through the pregnancy, and I had the baby, and Chris looked at me and said, so when are you going to start that business?
Really?
And I said,
this was a man that
I'm
asked you
not-
that question.
Yes.
That's wonderful.
And I said, I'm not so sure we can do that now, And he had agreed to stay home because I knew that I was I couldn't do that.
Work
It's
at
just
home,
not in
not
my
just
DNA.
at
Well, that's true. He's,
you
he
said-
had his own business, work from home.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so he had his own business going, and he was gonna work from home so that we could have him stay with her, because we had agreed that one parent needed to stay home. That was important to us as a family. That was just our decision.
I love it.
And then when he started pushing me to start that business, I thought he had lost his mind. But you heard how passionate he is about women in business.
Yes,
so
yep.
I'm one of his star pupils, and
It works.
It works.
Yeah.
And I started that business, and we did it. And he pushed me through. He used every single trick he had in the book, and some that he didn't have.
Made it up.
And we had friends and family that told us we were absolutely stark raving mad.
That's the reason I wanted to discuss this.
Yeah, you
Think of the
lost your
financial
mind.
risk you're
Yeah,
taking.
yeah.
Both parents being entrepreneurs with no financial net, raising a child at home, one of them being a guy. It's nuts. It's nuts.
But it works.
I don't know how many people said, no, don't do that.
Yeah, or you're out of your mind. But there was one fundamental moment that I have to tell you about that really is important. And this was his good coaching. And to this day, I don't know where it came from, but it was just this fabulous moment. And he asked me to tell him the story of my mother. And my mother co-owned a radio station with my father when I was growing up, and they started that station in the '60s, and back then it wasn't as accepted for women to own businesses, and so she had kind of told me that the whole thing about her half of the business was on the DL. I wasn't allowed to talk about it around my grandfather, around her father.
Really?
Yes,
Right.
because
This was Georgia. This was
Georgia. This was Northwest Georgia in the 70s, and she said, do not talk to Granddaddy about my stake in this business. This is your daddy's business as far as he knows. And so I didn't know any better, and so it was no skin off my nose. I said, okay, I was a little girl. I didn't really know. And so there were things like that. Even though my mother was a business owner and she was very much the financial brains behind that business, because she always downplayed it, and because she never really expressed how important it was and how forward thinking she was to be a business owner, even though I was encouraged to start my own business someday, her actions were all, this isn't really kosher. This isn't really good. This isn't really, and so as Chris said to me, tell me the story of your mother, and I started saying, well, she was a business owner and she was forward thinking and she was all these things, and he said, no. What did she teach you? And then I started down that road of, I wasn't really allowed to talk about her stake in the business, and then it dawned on me that what she wanted to teach me and what she actually taught me were vastly different. Yeah. And then he looks at me and he leans in and he says, and what do you want to teach your daughter?
Ooh, powerful.
Lamb.
Yes.
Yes.
That is so powerful.
And so the next day I started making phone calls, and I got an accountant and I got an attorney and we got everything rolling, because it was like, I will not do this.
That to tell, what's the baby's name? Carolina.
Logan
Carolina. Okay.
And so I wanted to make sure I taught her what I wanted to teach her, not what I meant to teach her.
You wanted her to learn.
I wanted her to learn
what you were teaching.
Yes. Yeah. I wanted her to learn that, yes, you can.
Yeah. It's amazing. It is amazing.
But we do everything we can. We use all of Chris's productivity tricks. They really work. For both of us to spend as much time with her.
If you want to learn about time management, run a business, and chase a 2.5-year-old, and have time with your wife.
So that's going to be your next book?
Right.
Because I'm sure somebody was
my next book will be The Nightmare of Raising Your Dream.
That is wonderful. That is awesome. But I really like that story. It's pretty powerful.
Yes.
That is understating it.
Right. It is. It is.
Verbalize a little bit in case somebody missed. What did you get? I know what you're trying to teach your daughter, but talk a little bit. What did you get from your mother, and what was she trying to teach? Talk a little bit more.
Well, my mother, my mother was of a. Now, this is embarrassing. I'm going to say my mother was of an older generation, because she had me when she was 42 years old. Well, I had Logan when I was 40, so I was throwing stones at glass houses.
That's just not done.
Yes. But what I can tell you about my mother was that, she went to Sweetbriar. She actually came to school in Virginia, which is one of the reasons why I wound up in Virginia, because I fell in love with it when I visited it for the first time. But she went to college, and she was one of the first, she was the first girl in our family, in her side of the family, to go to college. And so that was a big deal. And then she decided she wanted to go to graduate school. And so she attended graduate school for 1.5 years at the University of Georgia to get a chemistry degree. She wanted to be the next Marie Curie. Now that really was not done. At least not in rural Northwest Georgia. Right. And so she was in the second year of that graduate degree, about to complete it, when her father showed up at her dorm and said, it's time that you put all this silly graduate school business aside and come home and get married and raise a family like a good girl. And so she did. She did, amazing. Because you didn't disobey your father.
At all.
And I think she never quite forgave him for that. She loved him desperately, don't get me wrong, and he was a good man.
I understand.
But I think that was a real dream crusher for her. But she, to her credit, moved to Rome, Georgia, where I grew up. And she went to work for this radio station that was relatively new, and she met my father, and very quickly finagled a deal with him to buy half of the station.
That's awesome.
Before they started to become a couple, but they wound up,
She was the brains behind the operation.
That's awesome.
She did all of that in the 60s, and you just didn't do things like that as a woman back then. But I remember hearing that story, and one of the things that she kept impressing upon me when I did go to graduate school was, you will finish that degree. You will finish that graduate degree.
I want people to hear that.
Yes. And so, I always felt like Mother was ahead of her time in so many things. I wish she hadn't had to downplay her her successes so much
But
because
at
she
that time,
was a great lady.
Yeah, that time frame,
It just wasn't as accepted.
Yeah. And a lot of, excuse me, Chris, while I'm thinking about it, keep your thought. A lot of women are still in the same. I think there are a lot of women still in that same position now. It's a lot, because and some of it is self-imposed because of what we think we have to do because we are married and being responsible. And they talk about the balanced life, which there's no such thing.
That's
but
right.
They, but I think it's just like I call it in prison mentally.
Right.
Just like your mother was.
And what was
not
interesting to
reason.
me, yes, and what was interesting to me about that entire dynamic when I think back is my father was wholly supportive. He never downplayed her ownership, and as a matter of fact, leaned on her very heavily in many of his decisions.
I believe that.
And I think for a lot of reasons, that's why I always felt encouraged to own my own business. And he always pushed me that direction.
Yeah.
He was always the optimist and the encourager, and Mother was always saying, "Well, you got to protect the downside." Daddy was all the upside, and Mother was all the downside.
Were you an only child?
Well, for them, I was an only child.
Okay.
My father had 2 older children with a previous marriage, but it was I had that balance, which Chris had to sort of wrench me kicking and screaming out of because I kept hearing my mother's voice more than my father's about protect your downside, protect your downside. And he kept saying, what would your dad say? And it's like, oh yeah, but I got my mother on the other side. What are you doing over here? But it was a good blend.
That's precious. So. That is precious. I am so glad that you told that story because I just sincerely know from women talking to me at diverse gyms and just interacting at diverse networking groups that people are experiencing some of the same thing that your mother experienced.
Right, and it's really unfortunate because you get into this thing where you own your own business, and you know this, and you start meeting fellow business owners. And as Chris put it to me one day, it is. It's like a fraternity.
There's only one way to get in.
And it's so much fun, and I've enjoyed so much because Chris is quite the master networker. He knows so many people. He connected us, and he connected me with my first employee, and it's
guys
fun.
hear the show.
But it is really neat because of his connections, I've been doing business with a lot of other small business owners, and it really is a club.
It is.
And it really doesn't matter whether you're male or female.
It doesn't.
You are welcome wholeheartedly into that
totally.
club.
We're all in the
Totally.
trenches.
It's great.
Yes.
It's great.
Yeah,
So if women are out there thinking maybe I shouldn't, maybe you should.
Yes. True.
It's terrific.
That is so true. That is so true.
You are not alone.
At all.
Not at all.
At all.
Not at all.
Well, we don't have too much longer, but I would like for you all to again at this point give your business connect. How people can get in touch with you.
Oh, sure. You can get in touch with me by emailing me at chris@refuseordinary.com.
And that's CH.
It is CHRIS. And Refuse Ordinary, all one word.
Okay. All right.
And you can get in touch with me at Amanda@Reconnect, and that's RE-KINECT.com.
All right. And you're located off of Palm Road, so it's not.
That's right.
You're local. It's
I'm in the West End. I'm easy to find.
Yes.
Easy to get to.
Yeah. Very good. Very good.
And all mine is virtual by phone, so you can be anywhere.
He's easy to get to.
That's
I'm the easiest to get
that's
to.
important.
Yep.
That's important. So when they do the email, you would let them know the telephone number and how to reach you.
Yep, I don't give that out over live broadcast, but definitely email. I'll show them how to contact me. And
Okay.
and go from there.
Either way you want to. You can get it live if you want to.
That's right.
Yep. Let's see. What else? I thought of some. Tell us a little bit more about the raising of the child and how y'all work that.
Where do you want to start?
A little bit formal in terms of how do you all work it? Like what type of schedule?
Oh, okay.
That's good. That's a great question because our world, and it's interesting to share a story. So when we were dating, I had this conversation with her. And we're talking about made-up kids. This is before we were even married. I said, when we have a child, and that little child crawls into our bed.
Oh, that's story.
You're just going to wrap yourself around it. The whole world revolves around that. No, it's not going to happen. No. And let me tell you, Shirley, that's exactly what's happening.
I understand.
Is you literally schedule your world around your
the
daughter.
child. Yeah.
And even my client load is around when she naps.
Yeah.
When grandma comes and picks her up, that's my productivity day.
Okay.
On Mondays, which is her, she is elected to work a 4-day week, which is phenomenal. On Mondays, she has her all day, and it's daddy mommy or mommy daughter day. Daddy daughter day is on Fridays. So we balance all that.
Yeah.
And what's interesting is the conversation is focusing mostly on Logan, but also finding time for ourselves. And
Right.
that was
That is
one of the
critical.
things
That's
we were
critical.
so passionate
Challenging.
about
Yeah.
Logan. Oh, we come last. We
Yeah.
come dead last, our
Yeah.
own relationship. And what we found is critical is to spend qualitative. So
Yeah.
it's not a lot of time, but qualitative
Qualitative.
time with each other. Like tonight, we're
Yeah.
going to dinner after
Yeah,
this.
y'all got a date, yeah.
We got a date night tonight.
Date
That's right.
night tonight. We
That's
got
right.
5 minutes, y'all. Isn't that something?
Yep.
So the time goes by a little fast, huh?
It
Very
does.
fast.
I was unprepared for how fast it goes and how quickly she grows up. And it was one of the reasons why I particularly wanted to stay home, because I wanted to savor those moments.
Yeah.
I didn't want to.
It's critical.
I didn't want to put my head down and just work hard and work hard and work hard and oh, she's in college.
Yeah,
I
yes.
didn't want that.
I just, that song, what, the Cat in the Cradle or whatever?
Yeah.
I just,
Cat Stevens. I didn't want to be that guy.
I'm telling you. And I don't know why people, like I say, psychiatrists are rich.
Right.
Because of, it's not because you're not feeding them and not because you don't have a home, roof over the head.
Right.
It's because you didn't come to my game.
Right.
You never see
Right.
me play ball. The things that, like that is
They're
what I
really
hear important to the child.
Right.
And it makes a difference. Those smaller things that you can't buy.
Right.
And things that don't cost too much.
Right.
Those are the things that matter to the child.
Right. And making a decision that you're going to spend your time with your child and you're going to give up the other stuff.
Yeah.
And this is why.
And this
And
is
if
why.
anyone questions, I don't care what you think.
That's it. Somebody said at work one time, they actually said, Shirley, she's the one said if they were me, they wouldn't do so. I said, she's right. She's not you.
Right.
That's right.
She's not you.
That's
so
right.
she was correct. No, she wouldn't, but you would.
Right.
And that's what makes the difference. That separates you from the other parents.
Right.
But my thing is for other people to know that it is possible, that this is doable.
It is,
This
and
this
it's hard. We're not going to say it's easy.
Yeah.
It's one of the hardest things. I mean, I'm working 2 full-time jobs, full-time dad, running a
Yeah.
business, and the full-time dad is much harder.
It is
really
much harder.
It is.
But
I wouldn't trade it for the world.
I understand. I understand. That's the reason I appreciate you, because both of you, because you prioritize things. And
Like who gets up? We did that last night.
yeah,
You got up
She
first,
wakes
but
up
I
with a
did.
nightmare, yeah.
Yep.
You just figure it out.
Figure it out, but it is doable, and I think that's important.
Yep,
That's
is.
important.
It is.
Yeah, we got a sign here that says that we got 3 more minutes. So one more time, tell what you do and give your how to
Sure.
contact.
Chris Harris, co-founder of Fuse Ordinary. We work with sales drivers so they crush their numbers, rock their productivity, all while making a difference. And the best way to reach me is chris@refuseordinary.com.
And I'm Amanda Harris, and I am with Reconnect, post-rehabilitative and medical fitness, and we work with folks coming out of physical therapy and rehab situations to help them get back to the activities that they love.
Yeah, but you got those beautiful bungees, red.
Oh,
I'm a
those
freak for
red
red.
cords, that's right, that's right.
Yeah.
Suspension exercise.
Suspension exercise, and it reiterates what you said about starting where people are. If you're
That's
not
right.
able to but handle your entire weight doing something,
Right.
those bungees
We can
help.
take body weight off
Yeah.
and make it easier to move.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
Yeah. So
Absolutely.
you're not into pain.
No.
I just thought I would emphasize that. I thought I would emphasize that because
Right.
some people have some past experiences. Like you said, not the treadmill and all this stuff like that. That's what people are accustomed to.
Right.
Getting in, standing in there doing exercises and stuff. But that's not where you operate.
No.
That's not where you start. All right, that's a sign, I guess, that we're about to go off.
Or
and
Jimi
we,
Hendrix walked down. That was great
yes, indeed. Thank you all again for being here.
Thank you for having us.
Appreciate it
for
so
having
much. I appreciate you all looking, and we look for you again next week. It's our last show, so tune in next week. We really do appreciate you looking, and go to Facebook, leave some comments, and let us know what you thought about the show. See you next time.
And break your spirit.
This was great.
That's fun.
Comparison